Trust me, I'm not cleaning you up. This is the way, that's the way you talk. So this little thing, the shortcut typing on the auto replacement, what it does is, like, if you have something like you hear "I don't think" all the time, then you can do it. And all you have to do is type YONK. So I'm going to back it up a little bit, and this is what they did.
Great shortcuts.
So all you have to do is type that, YINDZ, in your text, hit enter. You might have to hit it twice. Enter, enter, and then it puts "I didn't understand." So it's just kind of a shortcut of being able to type things in. Okay? Does that make sense? Yes? Does it make sense now? Yeah. And it's pretty cool because if you drop, well, I mean, it's not that cool if you're, because then it means that you're dropping a lot. But, you know, if you do, then it's kind of a cool way of just being able to do it. You just type these few little things. You don't have to type the whole thing, and it automatically puts it in there.
After typing the shortcut, pressing the spacebar or enter key automatically triggers the auto replacement. If you notice you've just mistyped a word and the system did not correct it for you automatically, just go ahead and type in the correction and then space over. Then press a Shift-Alt-A will automatically correct the error and create an auto replacement for you.
So you can create auto replacements really quick like that. Okay? So if you do it all the time and it didn't pick it up, then you can create that auto replacement really quick like that with the Shift-Alt-A. Okay? Did you get it?
How do you get into the auto replacement screen?
I'm gonna back it up, but what it is it's gonna have the misspelled. So you want to space over, type in the way that it's supposed to be spelled, space back onto the correct one, and then do the Shift-A. Does that make sense? I'm going to rewind it a little bit and it's going to explain.
And the system did not correct it.
Okay.
You've just mistyped a word and the system did not correct it for you automatically. Just go ahead and type in the correction and then space over. Then press a Shift-Alt-A will automatically correct the error and create an auto replacement for it.
So you see what it's saying? So you want to come back to you want to come back to the correct way of doing it.
Let's go ahead and type in the correction and...
So you're going to type it here, and then you're going to come back here to where both of them are there, and then it's going to know to take the one that you put in that's correct, and the one behind it, which is incorrect, with the Shift-Alt-A, and it's going to know that it's going to auto-correct every time it comes up like that. So if you do something all the time, like the TAHT, and it's just writing it out, because it's not going to correct it because it doesn't know, because you haven't used it enough, that's how you create it. So if you type something in all the time, like CNA for can, and you do it all the time, you just do it so fast you don't even realize you're doing it, that's how you create the auto replacement.
When you mark the really and the really, you mark them and then you push Control Shift or...
No, you don't have to mark it. All you do is come back. All you do is come back to it. Watch.
If you notice you've just mistyped a word and the system did not correct it for you automatically, just go ahead and type in the correction and then space over. Then press a Shift-Alt-A.
So you don't have to mark anything. You just come back to the one that's correct. Come back to the one that's correct. So your cursor's going to be right here. Do the Shift-Alt-A, and it'll automatically take you to that auto replacement. So you don't have to mark anything. Okay?
Automatically correct the error and create an auto replacement for you. This makes it very easy to teach Eclipse which words...
So it's going to bring you to this box and it's going to say, this is what you want? Really for really? Yes, I do. Okay. And that's it.
Need to be automatically replaced.
Automatically. So if you want to do it automatically, that's how you do it. Not quite sure what that is. Don't help yourself.
You can create an auto replacement while you're in the globaling dialog. Just type the letters for your shortcut with the equal sign, and then the text for your global as usual. Eclipse will offer to create your auto replacement, which you can then use anytime you need to type this text.
Did you see what it just did?
Yeah.
Did you really?
Mm-hmm.
Seriously, because it's really a good thing.
Yeah, you do the FMC, and then if you global it, then you can create it. It's not the letters individually. It creates the whole thing.
Yeah. If you put the equal, it has to have the equal in it. Okay?
As usual.
So see how they global this. So every time you did this and you want it to be Ford Motor Company, actually you don't even have to do that. Every time all you have to do is tell it that this is what you want it to be, and it's going to create an auto replacement. Does that make sense? It's going to replace it there because you already globaled it, so it's going to replace it with this. It already knows to replace it with that. But you know what? I took the deposition of a guy that's a CEO of Ford Motor Company, and they said it about 400 times in that deposition, Ford Motor Company. Well, one time, or 20 times, I may not have gotten it correct. Don't worry about it. You do the FMC to equal Ford Motor Company. Now when you put FMC, I don't know that I put it in caps. I probably put it in lower. So this way you just do FMC and then it just comes up. Make sense? So it does an auto replacement for that. And I think it's going to do it for the job.
Would it just, is that when you're like typing FMC, or is that?
Yeah, typing.
Okay, so manually typing it.
Yeah. So you don't want it to be like CAN, you know, for Carver Academy Network, okay? So you want it to be something that's not going to coincide with something else, or it can be Carver Academy Network, CAN, but it's going to have to be capital CAN. Capital C, capital A, capital N is going to replace Carver Academy Network. Does that make sense? So be careful when you're doing it small letters that it doesn't coincide with something else. Okay?
Eclipse will offer to create your auto replacement, which you can then use anytime you need to type this text.
Pretty cool. The next time I use it will be the first time I use it, but it's actually a pretty cool thing. So that's what it's telling you right there. They're case sensitive, okay? So when you put it in for something else, you have to be careful that it's not going to change it for something that should be something else, okay? This is kind of telling you, remember when I told you about the mark and what's the capitalize, the F on the capitalize? To cap?
F6.
6. F6. So if you global something in here, like entered. Mark it. Not global it, mark it. What's mark? M. Mark it. And then do F6. What'd it do? Hmm?
Yeah.
The first one? And then do it again. Two. It doesn't have right there on mobile. It doesn't have it. Stick it. Now mark it. And do F6. You see what it did? Do it again. Do it again. So that's how you do it. Like if it's an acronym or something, and it's the CAN, the CAN industry, and it stands for CAN Association Network or whatever. I don't know. And they call it CAN, okay? And that's how you do it. It comes out small CAN. All you have to do is mark it, which is what?
M.
M. How do you cap? F6. Well, it's going to capitalize the first letter, then you push F6 again. It's going to capitalize all of it. So for those of you that are watching,
And if you press dash, it'll stitch it.
I'm sorry.
So then if you press dash, it will stitch.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So actually, you can do the periods right there too, and look what it does. See what it did? When you mark it. Or you can come back, mark it, push the dash, and it'll stitch it, okay? And it'll do it in all caps because it knows that it needs to be in all caps, okay? So that's a couple of ways of doing different things. And that's what they're talking about right there. Here they're talking about more movement. So if you want to move to the start of the line, push home. Pushing home twice does what? Does anybody remember? Yeah, the thing. What are you?
Well, I don't know what it's called.
What?
Where it highlights like the beginning, and it's flashing, and then you can change like.
Yes, that. You're not teaching this class ever. No, to your speakers, guys, remember? So when your speakers, and you push the home twice, it's going to take you inside the speaker, and then you can go in and change your speaker. Remember? Yeah, that. Pushing home twice. So home will get you to the first line. So just try it. Get in the middle of the sentence or at the end of the sentence and push home, and it's going to do it. End will take you to the end. So it's just kind of a neat way of just kind of moving pretty quick, but really, you know, it's not going to break the bank if you have to arrow over, or what is this? J, K, L, I, movements. What's D?
Delete.
W,
Endings. Endings, yes.
S,
Shade.
M,
Mark.
N,
Insert.
F,
Fine.
good. T,
Translate. Translate.
U,
Oh, right,
untranslate.
the ones that haven't,
Yeah.
right, translated.
Yeah. C,
Conflict.
conflict. Shift M,
Mark. Oh, money.
money. Mark money.
Right.
Guys, those are pretty neat things, but like I told you on the numbers, it's always going to give you that option over here on the Auto Magic, but it's just one way of really doing it real easy. Okay? we've done that lock button too, like when you global something on the lock. Remember that? Yeah? Do you remember that? Really? That ain't good. Just say yes. It doesn't matter. It gives you the different options on let's see if we can find something. See right there? So lack of foundation, okay? And you do the locked, see what it does? What does that mean?
That means it stays on the same line.
If you want it on the same line. So say it's the name of a store. You don't want the lack of foundation store. You know, so it's a lack of foundation store. You always want that on the same line. That's what these are gonna do. Got it? So Your Honor, always on the same line. Mr. So-and-so, always on the same line. Mrs. So-and-so, always on the same line. Okay? Press it again. What does this do? Yeah. So it just keeps it like that. So it's going to hyphenate it, and it's automatically going to keep it on the same line because it's already hyphenated. And then you do it again, and it takes it back. Okay? So you keep pressing it, it's going to give you different options, and it'll take you back. Okay? Something good to use.
Here's what happens if you ask Eclipse to suggest additional dictionary entries and you have a check in the box next to normalize. The system analyzes the steno you're in the box next to normalize. Here's what happens if you ask Eclipse to suggest additional dictionary entries and you have a check in the box next to normalize. The system analyzes the steno you're defining to see if it contains keys that could just as easily have been written at the beginning or end of a steno stroke, or even doubled as the end of one stroke and the beginning of the next.
Get that? So it's just going to give you suggestions of what, you know. But if you think it's spelled wrong or whatever, all you have to go to do is spelling. That is super good, okay?
Yeah.
So if you don't know what they're talking about, and I think I talked about it last week sometime, maybe last week or 2 weeks ago, about illicit, illicit, and illicit. And it's like, well, they were talking about illicit drugs. Is that A-L? I don't know. So you highlight it, push definition or spelling, and then it goes in there and gives you the definition. Hang on, let me go in there. Let me see if So see right here is spelling. Go in there and spelling, and it's like, well, they give me all of these, or it's illicit, 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 whatever. Well, I think it's illicit drugs. Well, let me check the definition. Oh, no, that's not it. So all you have to do is know what it is. It's illegal drugs or whatever. So it's like a bench for seating people in church. That's not it. So you just keep going down the list, and you're going to know which one it is. So that's really handy, you know, when figuring this stuff out too. So it's a real easy way of not having to go through, and you can Google it if you want, or just use that dictionary.
Here's what happens if you ask Eclipse to suggest additional dictionary entries and you have a check.
Didn't we do that? Yeah.
Here's what happens if you ask Eclipse to suggest additional dictionary entries and you have a check in the box next to integral, prefixes, suffixes. Eclipse analyzes the steno that you're defining to see if you could just as easily have added additional keys to indicate a suffix or even a prefix. However, the suggested entries are not added unless you accept them. So you can't cancel without accepting any suggestions. Or you can pick specific entries to be added, or you can accept them all with one button. If you're a more advanced user, you can get this feature to better support your writing style. Just go to the programming section of user settings and edit the integral, prefix, and suffix steno definitions. Here's one quick example. Let's say that you write the suffix s whenever possible by adding a z to your steno stroke. I'll modify this line to say Eclipse has permission to suggest an additional entry for a word that ends with the suffix s if it's possible to add final z to the steno that's being defined. Of course, that's only possible if the z is not already present. So I'll use the keys button, say a z cannot already be present, and then press the OK button. As you can see from this example, you
don't get that? It's more of an advanced way of doing like endings. So, you know, if they say jazz, jazz, and you do it JAS, and you're giving it permission to be able to use the Z, and that's what it's telling you. Okay? I'll rewind it a little bit.
You can accept them all with one button. Feature to better support your writing style. Just go to the programming section of user settings and edit the integral, prefix, and suffix steno definitions. Here's one quick example. Let's say that you write the suffix s whenever possible by adding a z to your steno stroke. I'll modify this line.
Actually, it's doing just the opposite. It's if you use the Z for the S, Z for S, okay? But the Z can't be present, and that's what they're going to tell you right here. No, it's not. It's saying, yeah, for the Z,
Just say Eclipse has permission to suggest an additional entry for a word that ends with the suffix s if it's possible to add final Z to the steno that's being defined. Of course, that's only possible if the Z is not already present. So I'll use the keys button, say a Z cannot already be present, and then press the OK button. As you can see from this example, you can add a lot of lines to this part of your user settings in order to take maximum advantage of the globaling suggestions.
Did y'all get it?
Here's what happens if you ask...
Did y'all get it? A little bit? Kind of? You want me to play it again?
No.
Huh? Who said yes?
Nobody did.
Jeez.
Let's take a closer look at the help that Eclipse can offer as you're adding entries to your dictionary. Here I've created a dictionary for today's job, and I'm about to add an entry for a speaker, Mr. Robertson. I'll ask Eclipse to offer suggestions. When I add my entry, I can now ask to see misstroke suggestions. These are based on the dragged and dropped keys that I've indicated in the Translate section of user settings. However, these entries will not be added unless I either select specific entries and press OK, or I use the Accept All button. If you don't want to accept any suggestions, just press the Cancel button. Here, let's see what happens if I use Accept All. In this example, that added 144 entries to this job dictionary.
You see what it's doing? So if you misstroke it, and that's how many different ways you can misstroke Bob, Bob. 144 different ways, just by leaving one letter off each time. Does that make sense? So, I mean, that's how you can kind of go through. But once you've globaled it once and it comes anywhere close,
Yeah.
Automagic is going to give you that option to change it anyway. Okay? But you're just going to have to go up there and accept one. So if you misstroked it 144 different ways in that one job and you misstroked it that many times, you're going to have to go through there and global magic that whole thing. If not, then you come in here on the suggestions and accept all, and it's going to accept all of them and it's going to put it anyway. Does that make sense? Yes? Okay.
I probably wouldn't want to add that many entries at one time to my main dictionary, but for a job dictionary, having all the ways I might be able to misstroke a speaker identifier could be very helpful.
And it will be. You'd be surprised how many different ways you can misstroke it.
You'll find unglobal in the edit menu. Let's see what it does. In a dictionary, you can use unglobal to do the same thing as unmerge. So if I read in the contents of my Keymo dictionary, I can either right-click and select unmerge, or go to the edit menu and select unglobal to say take out the entries that I merged in from the Keymo dictionary. In this small text file, I'll create 3 job globals so that you can see them clearly in the upper right-hand corner in the job dictionary. Edit, unglobal. This window shows me that Eclipse is tracking my globals. The most recent global is always at the top of the list. Okay, unglobal. The entry has been removed from the dictionary in which it was placed, and my text file looks as it did before I made the global. One more time. I'll pick David Smith Jones. Okay, unglobal. The entry is taken out of the dictionary, and my text is restored to pre-globaling condition. One last example, unglobal. At this point, my dictionary is empty, and my text is restored to pre-globaling condition. One final note, rather than opening the unglobal list and choosing the global that you want to undo, it's often easier to simply re-global, but use whichever approach works well for you.
Really? I don't know. I think I just got done with watching that. That's even possible. Did y'all understand that? So global, unglobal. So if you want to unglobal the thing that you globaled, you can do that. Okay? Okay. Whatever. Next time I use that, that'll be the first time I use it too. But that's how you do it. Any questions about that? Global, unglobal? No? Okay. Any questions about what we went over tonight? Nothing? All right. We'll see you next week.